Hello everyone, my name is Anmol and I'm going to present my project Shadow Protector. So let's just get started with. First thing, what does it solve? Second, how does it solve it? Third, how does it work? Fourth, let's just have a quick demo, if it works. And fifth, what we could build next. So for the problem statement, you know, let's just take a detour. Let's just go to the into DeFi world, see things in action. So currently we have opened Uniswap UI, and whenever we select tokens, right, and let's just say USDT, and so we have this UI to do a swap, right? Uh, when ETH price is this much, right? Sell to ETH, right? But the thing is, we just don't do on DeFi. We just don't do swaps. We have like we have lending protocol where you have money in different chains, right? And the main problem is that Uniswap price relies on pool mechanism, and Aave, Aave works on price feed. That's one big thing. And whenever you have money, right, these values like collateral ratio, balance, and are not calculated on oracles. And on the decentralized exchange side, you have your own pool mechanism and there's always a delay between it, and you can't have actions where you could uh, do a limit order when the price of ETH is 2 to 6 and deposit into Aave or Morpho, something like that. So that's the real problem. These things are not interoperable, right? So I just gave you a quick glance of the problem, and let's see how does it work. So the way it would work is a user would create a vault, let's just say called it user vault, and would place an order. So the order would consist of parameters such as which loan position you want to evaluate, which how much money you want to deposit, right? And then we have a handler, that takes into consideration all the calculations that are being done at Aave, Morpho, Euler, and we have a price field from Chainlink if you want to do a swap, when the price turns, then maybe for arbitrage or something like that. And what you do is you create an order, and we have a solver working here in the back, where you tip him, and he would execute your order at a later stage. So these vaults can be interoperable, meaning you could have one vault on Base and one vault on Arbitrum. And these vaults would be communicating using Hyperlane. And whenever you have to move money between those two, you have Circle CCTP v2 hooks that let you move the money around in instantaneous seconds, right? So that's how it works. Let's just take an example. So you have a borrow position at Aave and you use that money to deposit into Morpho because they are offering higher yields. So what happens if the price drops? Let's just say it's a tragic event. The health ratio keeps dropping down, and there could be a scenario of liquidation. You know, how can you solve it? That's the first thing. As of now, there is nothing interoperable between lending protocol between two lending protocols or even an exchange, anything like that. That's where my protocol or my project comes kicks in, right?
All right, let's just start with the demo part. So if I open my Aave portfolio as of now, I have like right net worth is $82, something like that. The health factor is 3.12, and these are the values. And at the same time, I have some money in Morpho right now, like Sparks and Seamless USDC vaults that are earning me 6% yield. Let's just go to our platform. So the way it works is there are three steps. The first step is the condition that you want to first. Since I've been doing a lot of transactions using this address, uh, I've already deployed a vault. But if you're a first-time user, you'll have to deploy a smart contract that's called vault. That's where your money would be stored till the condition becomes valid and the money moves as per the your parameters. So you can select Chainlink, Aave, or Morpho, something like that. Like if you select Chainlink, you could select a price feed like BTC, and For arrow it's fetching 0.62. If you go for BTC, yeah, it's 100k, and then you can select the condition for that, like whether should the price be greater than the current price or should be less than the current price, right? And then you specify the execution price. So since we are gonna do with something with two lending protocols for this demo, I'm just gonna select Aave over portfolio, and yeah, sorry, my bad. Right now the health factor is 3.12, and if you select, you can select multiple parameters out of here, total depth, collateral value, health factor, these values. And so let's just go with health factor. Probably less than is a more appropriate for health factor, if you wanna, if your loan keeps dropping down. So let's just select 3, so that whenever the order conditions, health factor is 3, so if it drops, it becomes less than 3, the order becomes valid and for the solver to execute. And yeah, and just select a tip for the solver. These are all the token addresses and wallet balances, and I'll just enter the value. Next comes depositing money. All right, and you can select a chain, and it will show you all the balances of your address. Let's just go with Sparks USDC Vault, and I just select 5 tokens after this. And then the third step is, where do you want to deposit your money? So it could be a self transfer. What would happen is, when the condition becomes true, the money that you select in second step would be transferred to your own address, or you could supply it to a Aave vault, you could repay, right? Those kind of stuff. So let's just create an order. The first one is approving the tip amount. The second transaction, is creating the order. So what would happen is, it would register the order on chain and it would store the tip, right? The third transaction is approving the Sparks money. That's like the deposit money, right? I'm spending 5 Sparks token, and the fourth step is depositing into the vault. All right, yeah. So I'm just gonna open my vault address, and I've done a plenty of transactions. If you do, and okay, yeah. So we have both the transactions, the create order and the deposit. And earlier, just half an hour ago, I did one more simulation, of that sort. So I'll just show you that first, and then we'll manipulate the Aave portfolio, and then we'll do a transaction. So if you look at the token transfers, earlier I created an open order. So in an open order, what happens is, uh, as soon as you create the order, a solver can execute it, and that's what happened. And what happened is, the tip money was sent to the solver, and the Sparks tokens were transformed into USDC. Then the USDC were deposited into Aave on behalf of my address, and they were minted to Okay, now let's go to Aave. So right now the order can't be executed because the health factor is higher than the value. If if I borrow something else, the order would become active. Let's just select so the max I can do is this much, but let's just go with 3 or something like that. So what would happen is, now my health factor would drop down drastically. It's like some sort of a event of liquidation or something like that. And if I borrow it, right, the solver should, the condition should become active, and the solver should become pick my order and execute it. Right now I'm running this all locally, so it's indexing transactions for me, and it's gonna execute order. All right. uh, and the repository for these are available on the GitHub. So I'm using Envio for indexing transactions, right? And there's a solver code as well. So you have to specify the Envio endpoint, your private key, and the payout address. Probably it's like, because the the solver that does a transaction, only needs certain amount of gas tokens, and for security, it's better to have a different payout address, that holds the money. And let's just see. And yes, the health factor improved, because what happened was the money was supplied by the, so yes. Okay, yeah. And if you see the transaction, it was done from a different source, and what it did was it took the tip money, it converted, transformed the Sparks tokens into USDC. Since it was an interest bearing token, the value you receive of USDC is quite high in tokens, and then those 5.08 tokens were deposited into Aave. That bumped up my health ratio. Yeah, that's for the demo. I'll be also uploading one more demo on my YouTube channel. Please check it out to have more clarity. And the last part, the future scope of the project. So there are possible ways, that this project can be moved forward. The first one is having more protocols. So Euler protocol is quite is something on my mind to be integrated next. The second is research into interop. So all the OP stack based changes are gonna have interop between them. So super ERC20 tokens would be interoperable and bridged easily. So that's something I'm looking into and testing out right now. And third is improving swaps. So right now the Aerodome router is quite naive, because the solver provides the path, and there can be cases of MEV attacks, but it's quite rare, since the pools, the way I have registered is like the swap route can be has to be very small, and the pools have to be highly liquid. But still, uh, probably using cow swap programmatic orders is a good approach for that. And thank you for seeing the demo.